Well, hello. I think that's a bit better. Everything's looking good. Let me see how far behind that is. It's quite far behind, but we're all good. That's a bit better. Everything's looking cool. So I just thought I'd jump on and stream for a bit while I'm building up some castellax that I need to have finished for tomorrow. See how we get on with building these. A lot of the kind of Horus Heresy stuff is kind of a bit of a menace to build. Like it feels like they're it feels like they kind of overdo it on like the number of parts often. So watch it pop. I just want to grab some sand and stuff in case we need it. Pop that there. Yeah, I'm just going to be basically hanging out and building robots. I'm kind of becoming a bit obsessive over list building in Horus Heresy at the minute. For those that don't know, I do a lot. I've been playing a lot of Horus Heresy recently. Well, recently, maybe like the last six or so months. Yeah, just been really enjoying playing. I feel like I'm kind of now in a position where I quite enjoy, or like I think I'm ready to, as mad as it sounds, I'm ready to win a game. So like up until now, I've been doing a lot of list building for that has been like kind of almost experimental because I don't really know what's what. I think a lot of the times we're super keen on immediately starting to win, when really what we should be concentrating on is like just kind of understanding the guys that we're playing and how it all goes together. And like the last couple of weeks, it's just really it's been really good fun. And also like the list building aspects and some of the more kind of like advanced rules and things like that have started to make more sense. There's still some stuff that I'm kind of still like asking questions on, like, you know, and I'm not really that fast playing, but I think that's fine. I think it's quite good just to, you know, enjoy the game, you know, like enjoy playing. I will say that the guys at Crossfire, like the gaming club that I go to that play Horus Heresy, have been really good. Just getting things introduced and getting things up and going. And there is also like I think I've kind of mentioned it if you've watched any of my other streams recently, or my one stream recently, that the club's running their first all-day event on a Saturday, which is quite exciting. The Boris Heresy. I think there's like 10 tickets, 10 tickets remaining for it, which you can either come in for a full kind of narrative day of Horus Heresy, or a full day of what's the game? Blood Bowl. I think if this had been last year, I'd have probably been playing Blood Bowl because that's where I was up to. last year. Not that I don't like Blood Bowl anymore, but like I just kind of got pissed off with it. Like I think like I got pissed off with a lot of stuff over the course of last year. But yeah, we're kind of just going with Horus Heresy. There seems to be a lot more of a kind of good community around it. Like not that the Blood Bowl community isn't good, but there's a lot of people who are very serious with Blood Bowl. Like it's the only thing that they play. They live or die by the Blood Bowl. So I'm kind of it's just not my bag just now. Like I'd rather just play something that's less serious, less, beardy, less involved. But we'll see how we go. Like I'm really excited about the event in March. Obviously, if you're watching the stream and you are based in Scotland, then I'd encourage you to. Well, I guess you have to play either Blood Bowl or Horus Heresy, but I would encourage you to get a ticket and come along. Specifically on the Horus Heresy side of things, the two guys that are running it are very, very passionate about Horus Heresy. Sean specifically, you should check out his channel over on the Tube of You, the YouTube, where we actually are just now. He produces some fantastic content there. And Richie, who also is like a multi-gamer, has been playing Horus Heresy a long time by all accounts. Yeah, so and then over on the Blood Bowl side of things, if that's more your bag, then Cami is incredibly passionate about the whole thing. Yeah, so this is the first time that I've streamed building anything, so there might be a bit of madness as I am kind of just going through this. So yeah, like I'm kind of this is castellax robots that I'm building just now. So they're kind of like automata. You can build them in a couple of different ways: Mauler bolt cannons or dark fire cannons. Or let me just spin this a bit more. See if I can get a better angle on this. Yeah, so there's Mauler bolt cannons or dark fire cannons or multi-meltas. They're very, very cool. I've actually got some here that I've kind of part finished. So I started painting these just to kind of get some color on them. But yeah, that's been quite cool. I've quite enjoyed it. Now I've put this part down, and amongst everything, yep, there we go. So yeah, like I've been kind of messing about with lists. So like the way that kind of mechanicum army list building works is that you have to bring there's different kind of sub factions. So like you've got like Myrmidax, Macrotech, Reductor, and Cybernetica. So like I've kind of been messing, like I alluded to earlier, I've been messing about like with a lot of kind of list building stuff. Like I think my kind of dream list at the minute that I've been messing with is going to be like a Cybernetica list. So certainly with that list, well, the one that I've kind of been messing with at the minute, there is a ton of castellax robots. Unfortunately, they're quite expensive. So like you're talking like 40 quid for two. So I'm kind of trying to pick up. I'm trying to pick up some as I go, to try and build that out, because in the end, like my list that I've built just now, I need, need, there's a need here. I want to run a full reinforced squad of 10, with the Mauler bolt cannons and the other things, the bolters, and then I want to run so like the castellax come in two flavors, the destructor and the kind of regular. So I want to run like 8 destructors and then 10 regulars kind of thing. So like I'll have like 10 with like bolt cannons, and then I'll have what do you call it? I'll have another 8 with dark fire cannons and the destructor kind of configuration, which would be quite cool. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm going just now. So I've got 4 painted. I've got another 2 here that are part painted, and I'm building 2 more just now. And then I managed to snag 2 off of eBay for like 20 odd quid, 28 quid. And then so that brings me up to like a total of like those, and then I've got another 2 boxes coming, so that's another 6 in the post. So that'll take me up to 14. So even with like 14, I've still got another, like for my ideal list, I've still got another 4 to get. So I'm just going to kind of take my time on eBay and see if I can pick up some more. Obviously, if someone who is listening wants to sell me some of their castellax, I would be more than happy. I do have some painted up like castellan robots, the 40k ones, because I had a brief run with AdMech and 40k. So I can always sub them in if I want, kind of thing, just to kind of bulk out the numbers. The other problem is, like, on my kind of like wish list at the minute, like I want to run, I've got 2 Domitars at the minute, which are another like automata type. I want to run 4 of them. And the Forge World ones are 100 quid each. 60 quid each. So like I'd need to hit up another 120 quid for them, which is just not going to happen. That's just not something I'm at all interested in. So I've sent away for, this is when the copyright police storm the building. I've sent away for another 2 from China. But the only problem with that is they'll probably take a while to arrive. So I'm kind of in this kind of holding pattern with my dream Cybernetica list, which is okay. Like I've got the Scutari box coming next week to kind of and then I've got the tournament in like March, where I've kind of mostly got my list down. I just need to work on I just need to work on what the exact points in it. I ran the kind of list, like the kind of list without the boys, without the Scutari, last Thursday, and I think it did. Like I'm pretty pleased with how it did. Like it did a lot of heavy lifting. with like kind of objectives and things like that, which is good news, because like one of the problems that I've had with the list is just the lack of line units. So the lack of line units is kind of one of the biggest problems. Yeah, so like the whatchamacallit. So yeah, lack of line units. So like in Horus Heresy, like you've got this kind of concept of like line 1, etc., which is basically how good the unit is at like holding objectives. So if the objective is worth like 1 point, for example, like 1 VP, and your guy also has line 1, it means that scoring that objective gives you basically 2 points rather than just the 1. But you've also got like a load better kind of like line 2, line 3 kind of situations popping off. So yeah, like there's a lot of kind of madness round about that. Right, cool. So next page, storming through this. So I need to do 2 of these. So yeah, I've built quite a few of these. So I've built 6. This will be like the 7th and 8th ones that I've built. Oh, I've dropped it on the floor. We're call the bombers. There we go. We managed to find it. I've managed to do quite a bit of these, so like 6 of them so far. So I've got like the process pretty well down on building these. There's just a lot of parts. So we're building the hips at the minute. These hips don't lie. Shakira. Yeah, I'm looking at this and I can't see it. Yeah, so yeah, like the whole kind of yeah. So like I was saying, like the Scutari that are coming are, so like one of the things that you've got in the kind of mechanicum lists is you've got a load of kind of vanguard units, and what vanguard means is you score victory points for blowing people off objectives. So say someone's holding an objective and you've got Vanguard 3, if you can finish them off with that Vanguard unit, you get 3 victory points, for example. So it's not really holding, it's more kind of like the kind of killing part of it. But I feel like a load of people are wise to Vanguard, and yeah, it's more difficult to score. You really need to take someone by surprise, because if you're playing a canny player, they may just drop off the objective before you've got the chance to blow them up. Like for example, so give it up, but don't let you score the points, which is fine, which is the game, you know. But it would be nice if they just let me win the game. And of course, all good streams from me are brought to you by Monster Energy, the white monster. I like to think of myself as a white monster. Yeah, so yeah, so the Scutari, I guess, is the thing that I'm trying to get to, but I keep interrupting myself and going off in tangents. Will be the first unit in the mechanicum lists that I've been running that will have line. So if the list that I had built already is doing a good job of kind of scoring some objective points, the hope is, well, this is good, more is better kind of thing. So that's what I'm hoping for the event in March kind of thing. So that I give a good showing of myself. I don't want to. I guess like one of my concerns is that I show up and I'm absolutely horrible and I lose all my games. But you know, there is always that chance. At the minute, I'm running on a 100% a 100% losing streak. But that's all right. We're kind of just feeling things out, getting very used to things. I was saying to Sean, I feel like I'm kind of ready now to win a game. Whereas up until this point, I think if I had won a game, it would have been just, it wouldn't have been like understanding why I had won it. It would just be like in sheer luck. So yeah, so I'm just gonna go along, try to make a good showing of myself, and then yeah, just keep playing Horus Heresy. I don't know if I'm ever gonna branch out from under the Mechanicum. I'm kind of hopeful that like there's more kind of expansion in the range, because the range is good, and I know that there's like destructors coming, like the Myrmidons, that are really cool. But yeah, like the hope is that that we see like a kind of more plastics. So like being able to run like 4 Domitars, for example, without spending like what 250 quid, or like, you know, the Voltarax is coming. So the Voltarax, the plastic Voltarax, they were like 80 quid, I think, from Forge World. So like being able to actually run more than one. The Voiraxes are interesting. It'd be good to get like the Voiraxes as well. I've got some recast Voiraxes that aren't particularly great. But yeah, like it would be good to kind of run more of them. Be able to run like a group of 6 or something like that, you know. But I think like up until this point, I've been quite broad with the lists that I've been bringing, because I've been wanting to play with everything, like see all the different guns and things like that. But yeah, like this, like for example, this castellax block that I'm building. So like the Mauler bolt cannons, there's going to be like 10 Mauler bolt cannons, each of them with 40 shots. Sorry, each of them with 4 shots. So 10 Mauler bolt cannons times, so that's 40 shots there. And then there is each guy's got a bolter as well. So you've then got they've got 2 bolters, 1 on each arm. So you've then got like 2 shots per bolter, which is then like, and then you've got like 20 bolters. So you've got actually gonna just tidy this up quickly. Yeah, you've got like 20 bolters, 40 bolter shots. So you're then on to like 80 dice that you need to roll for it, kind of thing. So even with their kind of poor ballistic skill, the thing that I was gonna look up is like the you can swap the bolters out for flamers, and I don't know if maybe what I should do is I should build half of them with bolters and half of them with flamers, because looking at the so I think the flamers. So yeah, like the flamers are template weapons. So that means that they would hit automatically, so on the teardrop, and then range strength of 4. So these guys, the castellax, have got. Let's have a look. I think they've got a ballistic skill of 3. Castellax. Yeah, so castellax, ballistic skill of 3. Yeah. Placable advance, explodes, firing protocol 3. So I think what I might do is I've got 4 guys with a Mauler bolt cannons. I might build these guys with the flamers, and just have like 5 with flamers and 5 with bolters. Because then if it makes people panic as well. Panic. Yeah. So, I'm trying to be a bit more. I know, like, a lot of the kind of guys that play at the club are pretty WYSIWYG kind of thing, like the what you see is what you get kind of situation. So I'm trying to be a bit better with just building things the way they should be, you know. But it's hard when you've got no idea what you're doing. Right, so the next set of legs. But yeah, I think I'll put the flamers on these guys rather than the bolters. I think so. I'll need to check. I'm pretty sure I've got 4 painted, and these will be 5 and 6. Yeah. So the first 2 that I've got bolters. Right. So yeah. So I'll build these with the flamers. Talk myself into it. Cool. So there's the 17. And then we have an E3. Yeah, so I missed my usual Friday night slot doing some streaming, just with I was just busy the last couple of days. There's some stuff going on at work. I had to work late on Friday and then some on Saturday, so that was a bit of a pest. Is where it is. Yeah, so we're now just kind of trying to catch up. You know, my adorned fan base of like no one here is always available to come along and watch me stream. There's 9, and then we are looking for the armor panels. But yeah, like I quite like these models. Like they're very cool. Like the whole kind of like retro futuristic look that the mechanicum have is just really cool. Like I'm a huge fan of it. Like it's done remarkably well, as far as I'm concerned. I think people might disagree, but that's cool. Everybody likes their own stink of their own poopies. Right. So I think I have cut out the wrong thing. I have. There's 18. Yeah, so I'm not massively excited about building another 8 of these, but it is what it is. If you want to play with your toys, you need to build them first. Where is number 21? Can't see it. 12. There we go. 21. 21. Yeah, I'm sure this is riveting. Watching a fully grown adult man finding numbers on a sprue that you can't even really see at the minute. I'll maybe try and come a bit closer so that you can see this. Yeah, like I've got like the desk that I work at. The desk that I work at for a lot of my painting, I feel it's just a scooch too low. So I think I might invest in some desk risers or something here. I think if it was like maybe an inch or so higher, no, I don't think there's a lot in it, but it'd be good to, just from a kind of comfort point of view. Right, so number 22, there we are, and then we have a 14. Yeah. Definitely, if you're in the chat or anything like that, and you should let me know what you're working on. If anybody's having a lazy Sunday of model making. Yeah, so as far as the streaming thing goes, I'm just trying to get into a more kind of regular habit of just streaming while I'm doing stuff. I don't know. I don't know how interesting that's going to be for most people, but we can just play it by ear, and we can just enjoy ourselves, have fun. Watch out for the scalpel. So yeah, I do realise that I'm cutting towards myself at times, and that is bad etiquette kind of thing. But do it as I say, not as I do kind of situation. Don't cut your fingers. Don't chop yourself up. It's not worth it. Unless you've got a kind of self-harm thing going on, and then you can just get off and slicing up your fingers while you actually are productive and build models. So yeah, just building another set of legs. The way this kit goes together is that you build both lower halves, and then you build the uppers, the upper deckers. Yeah, but glue here, and then stick that on. There we go. Come together. The way that I build models probably will trigger a lot of people. I don't really do an awful lot of cleanup when I'm building. Like, if there's something egregious, definitely, right? Like, but I think there's an element of, yeah, you do what you need to do to get the models done. You know, like, I think there's a fine line between the whole every project's a golden demon, right? And then getting actual shit done. Oh, he said a naughty word. But yeah, like the whole kind of like super tidy models and things like that. I just feel that it's like one of the hobby myths, right? Of like, well, you need to get all the mold lines and blah 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 blah, you know, like, and make the model perfect. And I think there is space for it, right? But like, I think in this case where a lot of these mechanicum I'm trying to do pretty quickly, and I'm also trying to do them pretty battle damaged and worn. I think there's an element of just like a bit of like uniformity is like not what I'm looking for. So like a bit of like kind of extra sprue or like cutting in too close, it's maybe a good thing, or at least that's what I'm going to tell myself, just to kind of keep the head canon straight, you know. Right, cool. So we're on to the last leg, as they would say. Yeah, like I think like for most of it, I'm just keen to get them to the stage where I'm going to undercoat them, you know, I can get them done, because I've got quite a, like, I've got, unfortunately, got myself into a place with this army where there's a lot of kind of process that takes a long time. So like, right, so the stages here are rattle can. So we're rattle canning them with standard grey from Colourforge, which is their mechanicum standard grey. And then we're then doing a base colour of, I think it's Flat Earth. What's that? It's yeah, Flat Earth from Tamiya, and then we're overspraying that zenithally with medium grey, and that's like basically to get to the point of like actually starting to put paint on them. So like, yeah, so once I've got these built, I'll take them downstairs and I'll give them a spray with that Colourforge can, and then what I'll do is I've got some Castellax that I built yesterday. They're already they're ready to be airbrushed. So I'll then start airbrushing them, and then hopefully by the end of the day we'll have some guys that are just ready to be painted, which is a shame, because like I feel like I'm trying to get closer to having a fully painted army here, but like I'm also kind of getting further away at the same time, simply because I've got a feel for where I want to be now. So these tubes are a pain in the backside. I really don't like them. I can never seem to get them to sit right. There we go. There we in. Yeah, so yeah, like I feel like I'm kind of like both getting closer and getting further away from like a fully painted mechanicum force, which is just fine, right? Like I used to be quite militant about like, oh yeah, like it has to be 100% painted, everything has to be painted, kind of thing. But what that led to over the years was like, you know, painting up like a full army of things, and then deciding I don't like the actual game, which is all right. Like, you know, like I enjoy the painting process. So yeah, there we go, and then we're in on this side. Right, and then we have 2 pairs of legs. Excuse me a second, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Yeah, so we then need to put these guys on the hips. Again, the Shakira method of these hips don't lie. I don't even know if that is a Shakira song. Like, actually, you can probably imagine I'm not the greatest Shakira fan out there. Not that there's anything wrong with being a Shakira fan, obviously, but like it's not my bag personally. There we go. That's 2 sets of legs. So we're doing all right. We're doing all right for this first bit. Just let that. Nope. Just let that set up for a bit, and then we'll glue it to the base. And the dog is going ballistic for some reason. Bosco, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? What are you doing? Where's your ball? There you go. Right. Now on to the next part. The next exciting part of this here live stream is the body. The body. And I need to do 2 of these. So cool. So yeah, I'm playing. I think I'm playing Night Lords tomorrow night, which will be fun. I don't think I've played Night Lords. I think their gimmick, if I've been led to believe, is all about fear. So like causing fear kind of thing. So see how that goes. Ideally, I would have liked to have taken more. So Sean had recommended that I take more automata. Sean from the gaming club. But I have taken some, but like I've not taken as much as I think would be advisable to take. One of the cool things about the old automata is the old tomata is that they aren't affected by statuses, and then they just walk along, blow things up, which is quite fun. Automata. Right, and then we have 2 arm pieces to do. I think it's one of these things when you're building the kits after you've painted some of them, you realise that there's bits that you've missed on how they're painted, but that's all good. I'm not really that fussed. I think there's been like I think it's one of the things about this hobby at times that really drives me ballistic. Like that there's this kind of overarching like feeling that there's a right way of doing things. Like, oh, this is the right way to. These are the right brushes, or these are the right tools, or these are this is the right way of painting things, which is just a lot of nonsense, if I'm honest. I'm not really the biggest fan of that approach. Like I'd rather like that people just did their own thing. I guess maybe some people do their own thing. Maybe I'm just a radical thinker. Too much of a radical thinker. For my own good. But yeah, like there's like on the club Discord, for example, there's the kind of usual chat about brush recommendations, or which brushes should I get. I'm looking to get my first big boy brushes. What should I pick up? And it's like, well, it's very personal. It's a very personal question. You know, you have to go your own way with these brushes. Like I think for me, like some brushes that people rave about, not a big fan of. Like I think some of them are just cheap rubbish. I think there's a thing happening just now with a brand called Golden Maple that they're offering quite affordable brushes, but I'm kind of skeptical about the kind of how much of it is their own brushes and how much of it are rebrands, because there doesn't seem to be one like overarching style to their, you know, like Now, if you're talking about tesseract brushes or orange brushes, you know, they're like the orange or purple kind of thing. They're very much a kind of they're very much a style kind of thing, whereas the golden maples seem to have every style. Like they're kind of like very much like these are just like rebranded kind of jobs. But I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I'm pretty aware that most brushes out there all come from the same 2 or 3 places, and there's just different quality control or requirements kind of thing, you know. Like, so you're really talking, there isn't that the probably all the brushes probably fall into 1 or 2 different, or like 2 or 3 different like kind of subcategories. But yeah, like it's not really I think you have to kind of like, so yeah, like I guess the point being like that, like a lot of people are looking for recommendations on what to use, and it's like, well, I like X, Y, and Z. I don't like X, Y, and Z. You should really just, like, I guess my kind of main recommendation today was like, don't buy a lot, like don't buy a set of brushes until you actually try like 1 or 2 of them to see if you actually get on with them. Because, like, you know, like I'm not a biggest fan of the Artist Opus brushes, for example, or like, you know, like a lot of people talk about Rosemary and Co brushes, and I don't like Rosemary and Co, and I don't really get on with Winsor and Newton brushes either. So yeah, I think it's a very personal thing. I think it's as well, like there's been a couple of people asking me about paint and what paint that I use and like kind of stuff like that, and it's just like, well, I think you need to at some point shut up and dance. You get what I mean? Like you need to just stop talking about it and stop looking at reviews and tutorials and actually just like do the hobby. Like, you know, like I think there's a lot of especially when you're a beginner, right? Like there's a lot of kind of like worry about, you know, wasting money and the likes, and just making sure that you're spending wisely. But I think that one of the problems is that you are going to waste money and you aren't going to spend wisely, and like a lot of stuff that a lot of people like is not going to be stuff that you really necessarily like. So yeah, I think unfortunately there is an element of just do it, you know, like that like, and I think you see it a lot of times where like people will come on like a Discord or like whatever and say, oh, you know, I've started collecting X, Y, and Z, but I've not, like, I've got all these Space Marines painted, but I've not actually played the game. Like, do I need X, Y, and Z points or whatever? And it's like, well, and like, this is obviously not like me saying everybody should do it the way that I do it kind of thing. Like, I mean, it's your hobby. Do whatever the fuck you want to do with it, you know? Like, but like, actually, at some point, you need to do it, you know? Like, get on with it, do something. As my mother would say, strike a blow. Yeah, like, so there's like a lot of people going, oh, is this the right list, or have I got the right models, or is this the right thing, you know? And it's like, at the end of the day, the concept of right in this hobby is all just to have different sets of opinions. And as long as you're having fun and enjoying it, then that's the right way of doing it, kind of thing, you know? Like, I kind of get concerned, like that, like there's a whole kind of situation with like painting tutorials that drives me ballistic at the minute. Like, I'm kind of falling out of love with a lot of kind of YouTube content creators, because I just feel that you can't, you can't really believe anything that they say anymore. Like, you know, like I think like everybody's got like a weird agenda, or um like they've got something to sell you, or they're running their own hobby company and they're looking to sell you what they're doing, or like it's a sponsorship, and they'll tell you that this thing is the best thing in the world, or you know, or the other kind of way of like clickbaiting everything, like that everything is fucking terrible, you know, like like there's a guy like tabletop minions, um, like he's just the perpetual like someone's kicked my cat guy, you know, like and now like he's affiliated with the army painter, and like don't get me wrong, I really like the army painter stuff, but like it's like this guy is so morose, like he's always talking about how terrible Games Workshop is, and how terrible X, Y, and Z are, and how expensive X, Y, and Z is, or like you know like how the hobby is expensive, boys. Like we're not like collecting marbles, you know. Like this stuff is expensive, and that's fine, you know. Like, and I think like you know like it's like when people start shouting about Games Workshop, like, and they don't have exposure to the wider hobby, you know, like it's frustrating, you know. Like so for example, I've just pre-ordered some archers for Warcrow, and it's a box of 4 archers, and they are 40 quid, 40 quid for 4 archers. And everybody's like, oh, but you know, Games Workshop will sell you one guy for like 20 quid. I was like, well, so does everybody else, you know. Like this is just how this hobby works, unfortunately, lads. You know, like I don't know why you're so concerned about it. Like it's just how it is. It's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. And I feel like I'm kind of like back on this classic rant about like how everybody expects everything for fuck all, and like it's not the way the hobby actually works, you know. Like it's like don't get me started on like the kind of 3D printing part of it, where people think that 3D printing is like a kind of like it's going to be the doom of like Games Workshop and kill them off. It's like, well, I've been 3D printing miniatures for like the last 4 or 5 years, but here I am still building Games Workshop kits, right? Like I'm not. This is just how it is. Like we're not 3D printing these castellax. Like I need another load of them, but like again, I'm still not. I'm not 3D printing them, right? Like I'm kind of just buying them, painting them, enjoying them. You know, like this is my hobby. This is kind of like my hobby. So like I don't mind spending a bit of cash on it. You know, like I don't know. Like I think everybody wants everything for free, and I know like don't get me wrong. Like I'm in a fortunate position where like I can kind of afford the hobby. I mean, don't get me wrong, it gets away from me sometimes as well. I'm kind of a bit mad on things. Like the hobby can get away from you, but like you know, for the most part, I can afford this, and I mean, I'm internally grateful for it. You know, like that I can do this, but like it's just annoying. I don't know where I'm kind of going with this, but I just wish that people would just take a moment and enjoy what they're doing, rather than looking for perfection, or like you know this quest for forever, as the Rodney Matthews book was. You know, like just and enjoy and do it. You know, and like you'll make mistakes, and you'll go, I wish I hadn't bought X, Y, and Z, or like I wish I had done this or done that, but you know, live in the now. Live in the now, enjoy it, and like have fun, like just get wild with it. Get wild with the hobby. But yeah, well, that was my TED talk. Thank you for attending my TED talk. But yeah, I think it's a difficult thing. Like I've made a comment a couple of times. Like I look around when I'm at Games Club and I'm looking at the people's faces to see who's enjoying themselves, kind of thing. And you know, like it's funny. Like it's not supposed to be like a stressful thing, right? Like this is supposed to be the thing we do for fun. Like it would just be cool that if when I looked around the faces at the club, more people were enjoying themselves, and there was less kind of like consternation or worry. You know, like I think that's kind of where I land on a lot of this, where there's kind of like a lot of people just wanting to get things like perfect and do things right and win the game, you know. Like don't get me wrong, it's nice to win a game every now and again. Like, but like for me, I barely ever win because I'm usually doing stupid stuff, like having fun and like trying to make my opponent's game good as well. Like I kind of pride myself on being a good opponent, more than anything. I think is the thing. But anyways, that's kind of like that was my TED talk. So we're now just on the kind of more of the torso here. Just trying to get this set up. There we are. And then we'll do the other one. But yeah. Whoops. Sometimes I don't feel like I've got the right hands for building miniatures. Like it's sometimes it's a bit like I feel as if my hands are just too fat-handed, man. Yeah, so that's kind of thing that I'm just gluing on is where the main gun for the castellax lives. Just on the back here. And then we've got some pipes. And that goes on somewhere up there. Just more glue. There we are. And then we'll put on this, guys. Yeah, so I'm probably going to kick about until I get these guys built, and then I'm going to drop off stream, I think. Right. 27. This is the bit on these that I don't like doing. So it's kind of like the kind of like lower half of the abdomen. If a robot has an abdomen, this is his abdomen. There we go. There we are. And then we need, is it this one? 30, 28. Yep, this is the boy. I wonder, like, I'm kind of in this kind of place where, kind of, where I don't know if I should have like background music on while I'm streaming. I think one of the problems being that YouTube is pretty prolific about shutting down streams with copyrighted material. So like I would have to find some, what do you call it? I know that there's a YouTube library of like royalty free music. So I'll probably just hit that up and just have that playing. And I also think there's a thing where you can configure OBS to raise and lower the volume on the background music. So like when I'm not talking, it lowers, it raises the volume, but then when I am talking, it raises up, right up, loud up. Talking about music, like I went to see Biffy Clyro at the Hydro on, what was it, Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. And it was a phenomenal gig. Like it has been a long time since I saw them last. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Really good. Really good. Hydro's a good place for a gig. Like I don't like, you know, if you're going for a seated gig, I think the Hydro takes a bit of beating, if I'm honest. Like the seats are comfortable and it's not stacked out. Like there's not a lot of sitting on top of people like some of these venues. But yeah, it was a really good gig. Yeah, I was talking to some other people about it. Like it's the first time I've seen them since 2007, which is a long old time ago. A different world entirely. But yeah, that was good. It was really good. I think like if I could level one complaint at it, the car park is a nightmare. So just trying to get out the car park after the gig, you just have to wait, right? Like, and then you eventually get going, but like it does take a long old time, especially when the gig ends at like, this is old man Peter here, when the gig ends at like 11 o'clock, or like, I mean, it's 20 to 11 it finished. You're like, I really just want to go home, go to my bed, especially because it's a Wednesday, you know, like a Wednesday night gig is a harsh one. Right, another page finished there, chaps, and potentially chapettes. I don't know who's watching, if anybody. Right, next page. Right. Oh. Right. It's more boat cannon time. Right. We need a couple of Mauler bolt cannons here, fellas. B2. You sank my battleship. So B2. Another B2. 2B or not to be? That is the question. But yeah, I'm kind of like I say, I'm quite excited about playing Horus Heresy tomorrow. And then I'm doing Spearhead on Thursday, which I'm still excited about, but less excited. I don't know what Spearhead I'll probably take. I'll maybe take just my lizards. Seraphon, because I quite like Seraphon. I quite like my Seraphon. They're quite cool. That reveal, the Red Corsairs reveal with the space crocodile was pretty cool. I really liked him. I might just buy him just to paint him up. But hopefully that means that there's going to be space Seraphon. That's what we're all looking for. And I know that One Page Rule does the Saurian Star Host, but I just can't get myself excited for One Page Rule stuff. For whatever reason. Like it just like I've printed quite a few of their minis and stuff like that over, and don't get me wrong, I support them on Patreon, and like I've got like I did the game found for like the new box that's coming out, but like I'm hoping that the new box, like that new Saurians versus what like their kind of Necron equivalent, ends up being like the thing that kind of pushes me over the edge with it, you know, like and gets me interested. I certainly am looking forward to painting up some of the Saurians. Like I think, like I've really enjoyed like my Seraphon. Like I've really like it's a good palette cleanser of like I'm kind of want to do something less like more organic kind of thing. It's weird as that sounds for a guy who's entirely building an army of robots at the minute. So we'll see how we go. I'll probably be like, I also started finally building my Legion Imperialis. I promised someone at the club that I would do an intro game with them for Legion Imperialis, but like honestly, just building those models was destroying my soul. They're quite fun, but there's just tiny, like there's definitely like a Micro Machines vibe with them. That's quite fun. But yeah, like there's just something about them that just takes a lot of doing, you know. Like there's a lot of doing to make it happen. That's not no bad thing. Like don't get me wrong. Like as someone who is going to be building castellax robots until his hands fall off, like, we all have our crosses to bear, as they say. Who is they? Well, it's me. Right. We will. Whoop. Where did that go? That exploded into the unknown. There we are. We're all right. Call off the bombers. I'm quite lucky. I've actually got spares for these, so if anything does go missing, well, certainly from this sprue, I can make it better. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna hopefully get some of this done today. At least get these spray painted up. Maybe take a break for a bit and then do some airbrush work. Because I must admit, like I think like some people enjoy the building part of this hobby, whereas I much prefer the painting part of it. Like I wish that I was going to say I wish that these things were like one piece, but I don't actually. Like I think that would be terrible. Right, so that's all the bits for the Mauler bolt cannon for the moment. So let's get this bad mama jamma built up. probably going to... Yeah. All right. Actually do sort this properly instead of... Right, that's better, I think. Bad mama jammas. I think there's the classic question of, I don't even know if this is a classic question. It's something that I would ask people quite a bit when I was in a different world. But yeah, like, would you rather have as a familiar the Iron Giant, you know, like from classic movie fame, or a intelligent dragon as a familiar? And like, I think for me, like the kind of Iron Giant side of things is basically where I'm gonna go with it. I'd quite like a large giant friend that smited my enemies, smoten. Don't get me wrong, I do like a dragon. I used to be quite obsessed with dragons when I was a kid. Like big into dragons, like Flight of the Dragon, classic movie. Was one of my favourites. Growing up, the voice of James Earl Jones. If you haven't seen Flight of the Dragons, I would highly recommend it, especially if you like fancy animation. It's like that classic kind of old Disney animation that just takes quite a bit to be beaten. It's kind of like. My vocal picks are really terrible at the minute. It's basically the end of it's like the kind of story generally is the end of like the world of magic and the beginning of the world of technology kind of thing. So the wizards, the great wizards, come together to talk about it. Like and mayhem ensues, which is quite fun. Would highly recommend. If you are at a loose end. Right. Mad mama jammas. Right, that's 2 bolt guns. The Mauler type. Is this the right one? Nope, this isn't the right one. I've chopped out the wrong one. Oh no. Someone call the police. He's cut out the wrong piece of the jigsaw puzzle. I don't know if people do jigsaw puzzles anymore. Probably do, right? It's probably. Oh, in fact, I do know someone that does jigsaw puzzles. I think it would be quite fun occasionally knock out a jigsaw puzzle. I guess this is just 3D jigsaw puzzles that don't come apart, and then you have to paint them as well. Rise up, rise up. yeah. So this week, yeah, like Monday, as I say, well, this model that I'm building, well, these models that I'm building just now are part of my RC force for Monday. See how we go. And then we have, as I said, Spearhead on. So Spearhead being Age of Sigmar. I'm hoping to get quite a few games of Horus Heresy over the next couple of weeks. I think I've got I think I was going to be doing a intro game of Warcry with someone on the 3rd of February. But otherwise it's going to be Horus Heresy until the event. I would like to try and get that win, that elusive win from my belt before. But again, no pressure. I don't really. It's not like a big deal for me. But yeah, that would be good. And yeah, I think I've got a load of work to do with. I actually need to really kind of buckle down and get some stuff done, because like this kind of like castellax thing, or this cybernetica thing, is a bit of a kind of a distraction. I'm gonna really need to get these things painted. Or the actual parts of my army list painted, but like really I really need those Scutari to show up so that I can get them built. And I don't know whether or not I'm going to be taking 2 units of 8 or 2 units of 16 or 1 unit of 16, but we'll just have to see where we are. There you go. And then we have a second robot. Hello, robots. There you go. I'm just going to stretch my back for a second. Right, so you then put the ammo on. There we are. That goes on there. Oh. Stick your bass. Right, that goes on there. And then we need to stick on this doodad. What we should do is we should probably tidy up this bit of plastic that we haven't tidied up first, because that's stopping us from going on straight. And there we go. We've got an armless robot. He's mostly armless. Ha ha ha. Right. And then for my next trick, we will put the second square sausage. Slashed sausage. There you go. Right. Then we don't need dark fire cannons. We're not doing dark fire cannons or multi-melters. Right. Next up, arms. So I'm going to be building these guys with shock chargers because that's just how it is. Because I don't think there's anything that really, there's no real benefit of taking the choppers. If these guys are going to get into combat, they're probably just going to bog somebody down. So like we're not really looking for like close combat performance here. We're looking at kind of like firepower. So that is 31, 32, 32, 31. Then we need a 36 and a 37. 36. 37. We need a 38 and a 39. 38 and 39. We need a 41 and a 40. And we'll have another 38 and 39. Why not? 38, 39. And then we need these doodads. So a 34, a 33, and a couple of 35s. There we go. I should really check to see if OBS is reporting any problems. No. We're all grand. We're all grand. There we go. Just tidy these up slightly, because if you don't, from experience, if you don't tidy these ones up, the sides don't stick on well, which we just don't want. The sides must stick on, guys. How many times do I need to tell you? Stick the sides on. Yeah. I got The Best of Both Worlds by Hannah Montana stuck in my head. That's real good fun. Right, so this guy goes in here as one part of the chopper. Then we need this part of the chopper. That goes down there. And then we need this part of the chopper. So once you have all the parts of the chopper, you can then chop things. But you need all parts of the chopper before you have to start chopping things. Isn't that correct? Seems to be. Seems to be. No one's disagreeing, so. That part goes in there. That part goes in here. Like I say, I've been putting together quite a lot of these castellax. That's a lot of guns. There we go. And then next one. There's the chopper in. Then we need the other halves. We're closing in here, guys. We're closing into some finished up robots. How exciting. How exciting. Are you guys excited? I'm certainly excited. There we go. And then we have another chopper. I should maybe keep things in focus. We are. And then try not to get my fingers all in the glue, because then I leave fingerprints on anything, and then when these robots kill people, they'll know it's me. Right, so that's the handies. You got 4 handies, Mr. Handy, and then you need the armies. Where does a general keep his armies? Up his sleeves. So the crowd goes wild. I'll take that as a more jokes, please. Right, 52, and then need a 55. Nope. A 53. I'll do a 55 here. I'll go backwards. 55. I'm going to just do one set of robot arms at a time here, just because I get mixed up with it. For whatever reason, these arms and me don't really get along very well. Like, I seem to get the parts round the wrong way, and then like I kind of have to do a load of messing about to try and fix them. Right, and I've said that I want to do flamers here. So I'm gonna put a flamer there, and a flamer here. And then we need 57. And then we need 59. Hope you guys are all getting excited. We're getting incredibly close to finishing these. They're one of those Games Workshop models that kind of all comes together all at once. you're like, what is going on? What's going on? And then, woofed. Put him in the bomber. He's done. Take him out the oven. 56. There we are. Right. So, just going to take a bit of attention here. Like, I just want to make sure that I get these guys this just right. So, that goes there. And then that one goes in there, like that. Right, cool. So if in doubt, dry fit it. Right, so this goes here, like that. And then we need a handy. That goes like that. Then this one goes that way. And this one goes this way. Right, so, oh. And then we grab the flamer. And that goes in there. And then we have an arm. Cool. Nice. Now we have to do this in reverse. So this one goes this way. Put the glue on. The ball faces that way. And then we'll put the hand on. And this one goes like that. Right, and then this bit, and then this one goes to the top, and then this one goes to the bottom. And then this goes here. Right, so we now have 2 arms. Excellent. Now we need 4 arms, like Goro. And you'll be saying, Peter, how come you've got so many knives? Well, as Alanis Morissette says, it's like 10,000 spoons when all you need is a knife. Yeah, I misplace them, and then I buy another one, and then I misplace that, and then I buy another one. And so there's a large collection of scalpels kicking around. I use the scalpels that I use these Swan Morton scalpels. Just be careful because they'll chop your hands clean off. It's just about cut like the top of my finger off the other week with one. But yeah, like you can get the pro tip with them is that you buy non-sterile blades, and they're much cheaper than the sterile blades. Well, unless you're building miniatures in a sterile environment, you know, like you do you. But yeah, like the non-sterile blades are much cheaper. Well, compared to a lot of compared to the sterile blades, I guess is the comparator. But yeah, 57, 59, 50, I'm just going to talk my way through this again, because there's been a couple of times that I've been not paying much attention, or like not paying enough attention, and I've built these arms wrong, and it's just trying to take them apart again is just a nightmare. Well, I guess it depends. Your nightmares may be different. Your mileage may vary. Right, so that bit's up. That goes on there. That bit, that ball goes on that way. The handy goes on there, and it's this way. Then this bit is glued. Then this one goes to the top. And then this one goes to the bottom. And then the flamer goes in there. There you go. That's another arm done. And then I'll do this one. So flag up onto here, onto here. Then the hand goes on to here. And then, oh, we've had a disaster, chaps. We've had a disaster. Peter's going too fast. And then glue here. This one is the underside. This one is the overside. And then we put glue in here. And then we put the flamer in. Something's gone haywire here. Oh, I think we're good. We're good. Right, and then we have another hand. Nice. Whoop! Nearly spilled. Spilled the nectar of life. The white monster. Right, next page. Yeah, look, put it all together. So we need the armpits. 4 of. And another 2. Just tidy these up quickly. Everybody's like, what's wrong with that guy's fingernails? That's because I neglected to put on gloves when I was spray painting the other day. Right, so put this guy together. So we have the torso. We then stick some glue in here. And then this guy goes in here. And then we put some glue on there. And then this guy goes on here. Then he needs his armpits. And then the other side. There we are. So that's 2 armpits. And then we need our other robot friend. So again, bit of glue on here. Stick this in. There we are. And then a bit of glue on there. And we'll hold this for a bit. And then we have his armpits. And another armpit. Cool. Second robot. Right, now is the pain in the ass bit. So these guys here, I don't really like building them, but that's what they are. I can never quite like get the seam to disappear. But that's all right. I'm not really. We're not golden demoning it here, boys. We're just building and painting for the tabletop. $45, and then 48 here, 46 here, and then we need the same again for the other robot. 47. 47, 45. And we need 48. 48 and then 46. Right. I'll take a bit of time just tidying these up because these are like the very top of the miniature, so I just want them to look as kind of good as possible. There we are. And then here we go. Right, so glue on here. And then this part goes here. It's one of these bits that's just, it's like when they do like a seam on a cape in AOS. It's just so annoying. Sure, there has to be a better way. And obviously, if I took my time and like kind of just went over that a couple of times, let that glue evaporate, and then filled it again. I know there's means and ways kind of thing, right? But like, I'm not really interested. I'd rather it was just a better part. Ow. Ow. Just stabbed myself. Come for the terrible jokes. Stay for the self-harm. There we go. And we pop that. Right, so this is basically where we probably part ways. I'm probably going to finish these guys and then go stare into space for a bit because my back is getting sore with the leaning forwards. Right, so there we are, there, and then pop this in. There we go. And there is the next one. Right, so back to our robot friend. So these actually glue onto these flicky up parts here. Whoops. So this goes on to here, like so. And then this one goes on here, like so. And then we jab some glue in his armpit, and we then give him an arm. And then we give him a second arm. Double arms. Who'd have thought? Science has gone too far. And there we have him. A finished castellax robot. Pop him there. And finish his brother here. His twin. It's funny, like I don't know how many people are into kind of Transformers and like Transformers toys and things like that. But there was always a thing with Transformers toys where you had a mold mate. So like they make a mold. So like back in the 80s when making these Transformers was like pretty complicated, they didn't want to just make one mold and then just throw it away kind of thing, or just like use it for one guy kind of thing. So like there's a lot of characters in Transformers where you'd have mold mates. So like Sunstreaker and Sideswipe, or like Ironhide and Ratchet were mold mates. So they would make one mold and then use different coloured plastic in it to make different characters. There you go. There we are. one arm, and then another arm. There we go. Pop that in. There we are. That's our boys. 2 more castellax robots ready to get their undercoat. I'll take them downstairs and get them sprayed up. But yeah, well, thank you for coming along, watching, whatever way you're doing it, and hopefully you enjoyed my rambling. I'll probably be streaming at least once during the week, doing some more painting. I've got a bit to be getting on with. So, but yeah, thanks for popping along, and I shall catch up with you all pretty soon.